the deep and teeming bosom of that which had only lately learned to call itself Earth, Gaia stirred with the slow, heavy certainty of one who has awakened inside her own tomb. She was the first, the primal mother, and yet the knowledge brought no warmth, only the creeping sensation that she had been summoned into being for a purpose she had not chosen. I am the cradle, and therefore I must be broken open. The sky above her, vast and imperious, was Uranus, her brother and her mate, and when he bent to her in that first dreadful union, he poured upon her surface the waters of life as a king might scatter coin upon the heads of supplicants. The gesture was generous, even tender, yet to Gaia it felt like drowning in slow, deliberate measure. Their coupling birthed not merely lakes and seas, those restless mirrors that would one day reflect every future betrayal, but the first shuddering inhabitants of the world. From the union issued the Hecatoncheires, monstrous in their abundance, 3 giants from whose shoulders sprang 50 heads apiece, and 100 arms that grasped at existence with frantic, insatiable hunger. Beside them lumbered the Cyclopes, one-eyed and terrible in their cunning, hammering metals deep in volcanic forges with a clangor that made the young earth tremble. Gaia watched them rise with a mother's mingled pride and revulsion. They are mine, yet already they strain against the shape I gave them. It is an ancient and unheeded proverb that the stronger the child, the more terrible the shadow it casts upon its parent. Suspense gathered like storm clouds over the newly verdant slopes. In hidden caverns and upon wind-scoured heights, the new-made beings moved with a purpose that seemed, even to Gaia's watchful eye, to outstrip her own. Uranus, ever jealous of his dominion, gazed down upon the Cyclopes and felt the first worm of fear gnaw at his celestial heart. They fashion thunder, and one day they may turn it against the very heavens. The irony was exquisite, staged as it was upon the grand theatre of creation itself. The Sky Father, who had sown life so freely, now recoiled from the fruit of his sowing. In a fit of that terror which so often masquerades as wisdom, he thrust the Cyclopes and their 100-handed kin into the black gulfs of the underworld, where their hammers still echo faintly, and their spirits are said to flicker even now in the caverns beneath Etna's fiery breast. Restless shades that whisper of debts unpaid, and weapons yet to be forged for a son who will one day slay his own kin. But the true heirs of that primordial union were the Titans, colossal and radiant, the first true sovereigns of the ordered world. They strode across Gaia's surface as though it were a throne room prepared solely for them. Among their number, Hyperion sired Helios, lord of the sun, and Eos, whose rosy fingers would one day paint the dawn with colours stolen from her mother's own blood. Yet none loomed so large in destiny's ledger as the children of Kronos, the Titan's grim leader. Gaia felt them stirring within her depths even as she lay entwined with Uranus, and the knowledge filled her with a quiet, psychological horror more piercing than any physical travail. They will devour their father as the night devours the day, she understood with chilling clarity, and I, who birthed them both, shall be left to count the bones. The motif of the devouring parent and the betrayed child threaded through every layer of her being like veins of awe awaiting the Cyclopes' hammer. Uranus had feared his own offspring, Kronos would fear his in turn, and the Olympians yet to come would learn the same terrible lesson. Gaia moved across her own body, the hills her breasts, the rivers her lifeblood, with the measured tread of a queen who knows her palace is built upon a fault line. Every tree that thrust upward from her skin seemed to reach not toward light, but toward the moment when it would be felled by those it had sheltered. The suspense was exquisite. The world was young. The Titans ruled in seeming eternity, yet already the future pressed against the present, like a blade held just behind the curtain. She pressed one vast earthen hand to the place where her heart should have beaten, and felt only the slow, seismic pulse of inevitability. Creation, she had learned, was not an act of love, but a long, courteous cannibalism, each generation feeding upon the last while pretending the meal was a sacrament. And somewhere in the depths, the banished Cyclopes hammered on, forging the very thunderbolt that would one day strike down Asclepius for the crime of undoing death, as though death itself were not the only honest child this family had ever produced. For it is the cruelest of truths, seldom spoken in polite drawing rooms or upon Olympian heights, that every mother eventually becomes the haunted ground upon which her children wage their wars, and that the ground once trodden never forgets the weight of the boots that crushed it.